Hello and welcome to Parveen Smith Celestial, and welcome to this day. It's Wednesday the 23rd of October 2014, and we're going to be sharing with you Scorpio new moon, everybody, today. And indeed this week has been coming into a new moon, partial solar eclipse with the sun and moon and Venus, and it's the first degree of Scorpio, which brings a feeling of major new beginnings and the sense that we are somehow being given the opportunity to wipe the slate clean. Not only is it the beginning of Scorpio, the sign of transformation, but it's also new moon, which is a time for leaving whatever no longer serves us behind. We're also looking at, as Amy Bird gives us this particular report, that this is no ordinary new moon. It is a solar eclipse, which has potential to shake up our lives and take us on to the next level somehow. And eclipses signify very significant end of a chapter and a beginning of a new one. Some of you already may be feeling this. We've been speaking about this over the recent times, especially within my Angelic Reiki reunion, that people may be going through some sort of changes, should we say. It's almost like leaving the old behind so that we can move on forwards. And a lot of spiritual people are having to go through this. So the next set of eclipses will occur in about 6 months. So this eclipse will set a ball rolling with each one to play its part out. This is also the last of the set of eclipses in the sign of Scorpio, which began in May 2012. So we can look at various sort of experiences that we may have had as a sense of completion. Totally making sense for me here, as it's a process that started back then. So the process will of course involve Scorpio themes of power, emotional honesty, trust, transformation, intimacy, sexuality, psychological insight, and facing our shadows. Not only that, but at least we can look at the other areas as well here, as we're looking at the degrees in Scorpio was what we're looking at here is there was an eclipse in 0 degree Scorpio, which was 19 years ago in October 1995. So there is also a link here between whatever was going on for us then and what is occurring in our lives now. So does that make sense? You may need to just cast your minds back just for a few moments. What was going on for you in 1995 and what's happening for you now? What is the link there? And what is occurring in our lives and what's going to happen for us next? Well, the new moons involve the sun and the moon joining forces in the same sign. So this is a seed that we plant in intentions that will set to revolve around the energy of that sign. We are able to somewhat objectively look at what needs to let go of and what we need to develop more of. And this new moon carries more weight than usual. So being an eclipse and in the sign of Scorpio, it is asking us to be completely and utterly honest with ourselves, as uncomfortable as it may be for some. Scorpio is not afraid to delve into the depths and unearth the parts of ourselves that we would have preferred to keep hidden. So here we're looking at particularly, this is Scorpio territory, our shadows and the parts of ourselves we would rather not talk about. But unfortunately, we have denied and suppressed intentions into unhealthy ways, and we've got to probably look at facing that as well in a healthy way. So now is an amazing opportunity to face our shadows and reclaim our power instead of these parts of ourselves lurking around the shadows and infiltrating our lives in an unhealthy way. So we need to look at having more courage and admit it to ourselves as well. So as we know that Venus is sitting right next to the sun and the moon, and this is a very sensitive degree of Scorpio, bringing our relationships into focus. And Venus in Scorpio brings up the issue of trust, vulnerability, jealousy, emotional honesty, intimacy, releasing, possessiveness and power within our relationships. Venus also represents our femininity, so there is a sense of us having the opportunity to reclaim our feminine power. Scorpio isn't afraid to plunge into the depths and confront those subjects that make us feel a bit uncomfortable, vulnerable or exposed. Trust is such a big part of the Scorpio experience, and it takes a huge amount of trust to remain completely open and express love, tenderness as well. Trust lost or betrayed makes it hard to open up again after completely destroying a relationship. This new moon could bring up the theme of trust and could also be there to help us to examine our relationships, particularly where we could be open up more and allowing possibilities for greater intimacy and deeper connections in some relationships. Further here, probably what I can share with you is that Neptune in Pisces is forming harmonious aspect to the Sun, Moon and Venus, which will help us to do whatever we need to be doing in the spirit of love and compassion and kindness. And also we can look at that Mercury will be at a standstill at the time of the new moon, getting ready to turn direct on the 25th of October, and it has been retrograde since the 4th of October as well. This will make us have the energy and the powerfulness that we probably need to communicate at all times. We're also probably looking at sharing with you that it's a really wonderful time to do some deep inner work and contemplate where we are stuck and what old patterns and beliefs need to be released in order for us to empower ourselves. Mars is in Sagittarius and is forming a harmonious out of sign aspect to the moon, helping us not only to face our demons but also to open up and trust others with their innermost secrets. It is not easy to expose our tender underbellies either, but it's all about trusting what is going to be brought up for us, I think. So trust betrayed or lost is disastrous for a relationship, and while being open enough to trust another with our heart and soul is utterly beautiful and precious too. Power is another theme, and this is a wonderful time for us to delve in and recognise where we hold ourselves back from standing in our true power. When I was speaking about this just at the last weekend's reunion with my colleagues and my students, and basically it is about where we feel that we have lost trust with the people that we know. Scary times can be coming up, but how do we stand in our power as well? I think most of us in the spiritual work that we do, and spiritually aware people who work in the public sector as well, are learning to stand up for ourselves just that little bit more because we have had no choice to. But we're looking at also facing our shadows into the light as well and making them less scary. So right now, that's all I've got to share with you today here on this Amy Bird Astrology report that comes into us regularly here, and thank you very much for staying tuned. I'll be sharing more beautiful and wonderful things on various aspects of food, health and well-being as always. Thank you. You've been listening to Parveen Smith Celestial.